Okay, so that's a word of caution on valuations, but otherwise still positive on the turning ROE cycle. Let's get more fundamental opinion before we start trading. Mayuresh Joshi, fund manager at Angel Broking, is now with us. Morning, Mayuresh. Good to have you with us. Well, first up, auto stocks. What are you going to do? Have they already reacted yesterday? Because of that one-time reaction, are they still buys today, the Heroes and the Ashok Leylands?
Morning, Lata. I think if one really presumes the kind of revenue hit that these companies will take because of the imposition of the Supreme Court order, yes, I think it should be a one-time hit for these companies. And again, I think the hit should not be more than 6-7% for Hero MotoCorp. Similarly, I think as I've been hearing the Ashok Leyland management speak, they're probably expecting a minimal hit to take place on the inventory that they probably hold in terms of the BS3 vehicles that they've manufactured. And again, I think a large portion of that might really get exported. So yes, I think this is presumably a one-time impact that these companies might face. The kind of losses that can probably come through specifically on the two-wheeler and the CV segment, I think might not be large as the markets are probably expecting. And again, I think there is every possibility of conversion happening on these vehicles with upgrades on the technological front from BS3 to BS4. Yes, that might entail an EPS hit for the better part of FY16 earnings. But going forward, my entire sense is that as volume activity starts picking up and there is every likelihood of increase in prices, specifically on the two-wheeler segment to the tune of 6 to 8% as BS4 norms get rolled out, I think they've got some cushion on that front as well. So largely, yes, I think any decline onto these stocks like Hero MotoCorp, Ashok Leyland, I think yes, they do pose good buying opportunities for long-term investors.
Okay, good buying opportunities for long-term investors. Mayuresh, good morning. The other news flow I wanted to discuss with you is in the aviation space. Today we understand that the winners for the regional connectivity scheme will be announced, and we know that SpiceJet could be the biggest beneficiary of that. The stocks have been gaining. What do you do here? Do you increase your allocation, and what would be your favorite?
Morning, Sonia. Again, I think if you look at the entire earnings trajectory for these companies, I think it's extremely lumpy. And a few quarters when the holiday season is around, I think the occupation of the load factors start moving up quite significantly. Secondly, I think because of the entire demonetization effect, the companies have taken a huge hit, both in terms of their earnings profile, which was clearly reflected on their bottom lines, as well as their revenue per average seat available kilometer, as well as the yields, which had fallen down significantly. So yes, I think competition pressures, and again, I think the kind of pressures that one really faces from the ATF prices do take away the sheen in terms of the cash flows for these companies. And it's been a very complex breakup. I think 25-26% of the total costs obviously is accounted for ATF. You've got employee cost to account for, aircraft maintenance charges around 8 to 10%, the leaseback agreements that they've done, I think that accounts for 8 to 10%, depreciation of almost 4 to 5% for a company's quarterly run rate on an annualized kind of reporting. So largely, again, I think you're probably seeing 70 to 80% of their costs basically depend a lot more on external factors. And again, I think pricing pressures do take the sheen in terms of cash flows. But again, I think with the entire regional connectivity, with the prices coming down in terms of cess coming down in terms of the fuel, I think it is incrementally positive for these stocks. And as these get implemented and the winners are announced, my own sense is that a lot of these stocks have moved up significantly over the past month in anticipation of these news. And again, I think that does reduce the kind of dependence on the ATF prices that has on the overall cost dynamics of the companies. So the positive momentum on these stocks might very well continue. SpiceJet, Indigo probably can be some stocks that can be looked at. But again, I think this can be from a very short to medium term perspective, because as I said earlier, I think earnings tend to be extremely lumpy for the sector as well.
Okay. Ashwani, wanted thoughts on a couple of stocks in the F&O market. Bharat Financial Inclusion, which was down 4%, and Ashok Leyland, which was down 3% yesterday.
See, Ashok Leyland, has declined from about 97, 98 till yesterday when, macro news was announced. So I'm not looking to sell Ashok Leyland, I'm looking to buy it. But Bharat Financial, the way it's fallen day before yesterday, it looks like it could have further decline. Maybe 750, 760 is possible on Bharat Financial. So between the two, the one decline that I may want to buy is probably Ashok Leyland.
Okay, fair enough. Let's get more on that issue actually. this big news in the auto space, the Supreme Court having taken a hard line on migration to the BS4 regime, refusing to allow sale or registration of BS3 vehicles after the 31st of March. However, the court has said that BS3 vehicles sold till 31st March can be registered even after the cut-off date. Our colleague Ronojoy Banerjee had spoken with Vinod Dasari, president of SIAM, Vikram Kirloskar of Toyota Kirloskar, and Rajiv Bajaj, managing director of Bajaj Auto, as well Sunita Narayan of the Centre for Science and Environment. Let's listen in to a slice of that conversation.
We all have to respect whatever the Honorable Supreme Court has given as verdict. There is no question about not following that. So with that, let me say that I find it rather odd. There is a law that has been stated very clearly by the government saying that you can manufacture up to March 31st and you can sell after that. This is the law, this has been the past precedence, this is what everybody has been following. And it is inappropriate to say that everybody knew about it. Let me clarify. Commercial vehicle makers and all the automakers in this country have been making BS4 vehicles since 2010. So if there was so much interest in improving the pollution, first and foremost, why was it not said that we should be pushing the petroleum companies to be providing fuel available from 2010? For 7 years we have been making BS3 vehicles because of lack of fuel. But I find it quite frustrating that a law has been made, you follow the law, and suddenly something goes wrong like this.
Sunita Narayan, you and I spoke briefly yesterday outside the court, and there also, the sense was that perhaps, this time round, the court may take the auto industry's concerns on board, especially because the government had also come out strongly backing. On that limited point, were you also pleasantly surprised by the unambiguous verdict that the Supreme Court has passed this afternoon?
It's not about surprise. I think I'm certainly very happy that the court has weighed in on behalf of public health. And I'm really surprised Mr. Dasari continues to take this position.
Rajiv Bajaj also joins in. Good to have you with us. The industry claims that the losses could be to the tune of up to 30,000 crore rupees. So in that sense, would you perhaps say that it's a little harsh on the auto industry, which is already so regulated, which pretty much complies with all the regulations?
No, Ron, I would absolutely not. See, there are some things that you cannot put a price on. We can't forever get intimidated by 30,000 crores and 300,000 crores and this kind of stuff. This is about the air we all breathe, including our children and their children to come. I refuse to, sit on a fence on this. And my point is very clear. What did Mrs. Thatcher say years ago? She said, we will stand on principle or we will not stand at all. So this is a matter of principle. Just because it is 1,000 crores, we make one decision. If it is 100,000 crores, we make another decision. This is called uncertainty. This is called unpredictability of policy.
Some companies have taken different stance. Our stance as Toyota Kirloskar Motor was that we have to change over from BS3 to BS4 as fast as possible, and we did that last year. We have no inventory left. Vinod
Dasari, was there perhaps need also for the industry to come together and self-regulate itself?
Let me say this on behalf of the industry. There is no country in the world where the auto industry has accepted proactively that they will go from BS4 to BS6 in 3 years. Europe and America have taken 10 to 12 years. So let's not put the industry to say that industry is not accepting the norms. Indian auto industry has accepted safety and emission norms faster than any other country in the world.
counting down to what promises to be a decent start to trade today. We have about 3 more minutes left. Amit Gupta, the head derivatives at ICICI Direct, joins us. Important day, it's F&O expiry. Amit, where do you see the series expire today and what would be the strategy for the day?
See, looking at the current setup, I think this expiry should be above 9150 levels. In fact, the most of the day we may, remain in the range of 9150 to 9200. Now, 9200 call base is pretty higher. So the move above that, if it comes in the early morning, now after this trade starts, then the short covering pattern can be very huge. And then we can see a very sharp move. Otherwise, there is a more likelihood of Nifty between 9150 to 9200. Now, one important factor here is if you look at the open interest in Nifty and Bank Nifty both, we started the March series with a very high open interest positions in both the indices, but the roll spread is very low. That is only 30 points in Nifty, and in Bank Nifty also the next month future and the near month future is only 30 points, the difference. So that means that it is not the long positions which are getting rolled into the next month. I think the short traders are stuck up in this market because of this sharp move, and which can lead to some kind of short covering again and again towards the expiries. Now we are going to have the first expiry above 9,000 now. And I think the Bank Nifty weekly expiry, because as the market is moving towards the monetary policy, I think we should focus there and start writing the 21,000 or 21,100 put options in Bank Nifty, because my assumption is even if private banking remains sideways, PSU banking can provide some kind of momentum to the index, and that is why these put options can be written where the implied volatility has already started falling. So we have already started selling 06 April weekly expiry put options of 21,100 in the market.
Okay, that's of course for the 6th April. Just wanted to clarify for the weekly options expiry. Sudarshan, I wanted a couple of chart checks from you as well on the NBFC space, Edelweiss and JM Financial. Any thoughts here?
Well, you know what Edelweiss is doing. It's rallying, and again yesterday it had a rally. So while a stock that's making consistently new highs and higher highs, higher lows is a buying opportunity, I'm not sure how you actually buy it. Perhaps if you like the space and see a dip, it is a buy for anyone just looking at a chart. I'm not aware of the context. What was the second company?
JM Financial.
Oh, it's the same story. I don't track JM Financial, so I can't say, but I'm assuming that it's going to be something similar. You must understand or like that space. It's not NBFCs, it's a very small segment of NBFCs.
Okay, well, while on that matter, I mean, these are the stocks that will do well. What is your take on Axis and Kotak, Sudarshan?
See, Kotak I think has much more legs on the upside. Small dips in Kotak should be bought into. Axis is developing a base, it's not done that. So for short-term traders, there is no buying opportunity. But for an investor, I think it's a golden chance to go and buy a good quality bank.
Okay, a couple of these white goods names makers have also been doing well. So quick thoughts on them. Ashwini, Whirlpool, Hitachi Home, Voltas, anything you like?
See, Voltas had a fairly strong move yesterday. It can have follow through. This kind of macro news on a sector often leads to large 20-30% type moves. So I think Voltas probably is heading towards 500. Whirlpool is already moving up. Those are portfolio type stocks. But I wouldn't be surprised if you get a 25-30% move before the real summer starts.
Okay, pre-open rates are tickling in now. The first rate is bizarre because of ITC, that will correct, but ICICI Bank starts in green, Axis starts in green. Let's see where Kotak Mahindra Bank is starting, because that will be an important stock to watch out for in today's trade. It's expiry day as well. Okay, still to get rates on Kotak, but a couple of others which are important. Yeah. TCS starts 2% lower. Rupee, by the way, 64.87 now, so breaking 64.90 for the good now. 64.95 I think is where it closed yesterday, if I'm not wrong.
It did go up to 64.89 through the day, yeah. But 64.87 intraday I think is still a new high, if you please, yeah. New 17-month high. But yeah, this is going to be a problem. The rupee strength will only go on and on. As I have been saying, the Indian macros are improving so much. cash and flows are coming
Lata,
in.
let's do one thing.
stock
Let's
is in
invite
focus,
Glenn
yeah.
Saldanha actually in our
Okay, sure.
discussion. Glenmark is actually in focus. Glenn Saldanha is with us on this GSP 301. We have the phase 3 data which is out now. Glenn, good morning. So, can we expect an out-licensing deal on this, and how big is this going to be for Glenmark? If you could give us some numbers in terms of potential sales.
So we've got positive data, phase 3 data on GSP 301. I mean, this is a big event for the company because this is our first branded product, to clear phase 3, and we are hoping to launch this product, file it in FY18 and launch it in FY19. So I think from a sales potential perspective, it's at least $100 million opportunity for us. So it's a big event for us.
Okay, and when can we hear about the out-licensing deal, Glenn?
So we are, in all likelihood, we will be commercializing this product on our own or with a partner. We are still debating the best way to get to market. So over the next year, we will have further information on our commercial strategy.
So you did say that there is a $100 million opportunity that you're seeing with this deal, right?
Well, clearly sales potential is about $100 million for this particular product.
Okay. And what would that translate to in terms of your own revenue growth that you're expecting to see over the next, say, 1 year or so?
So we will file this product in FY18 in the US, and we will start commercializing in FY19. Okay. And post commercialization, right, you can expect $100 million of peak sales, right, coming through on this product.
Okay, so
but the key takeaway is this is only the first product, and we have a host of other branded products.
I was going to in fact ask you about that. What would the pipeline look like in terms of filing over the next 1 year or so?
We have close to 3 or 4 products, branded products in development, and every year from here on, hopefully we should have one product entering phase 3 and completing phase 3. So it's a pretty exciting pipeline that we've developed internally.
Okay, but this product in particular, Glenn, FY18 you don't have any revenue potential because the next step, as you said, you'll be filing in FY18, and the revenue potential is only for FY19.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, now that we have you with us, I just wanted to ask you, Donald Trump's latest pick, Scott Gottlieb, who is a former FDA Deputy Commissioner, is going to head that drug authority, believed to be committed to lower drug prices. How should that impact you and other companies that export to the US?
Well, clearly Scott is a veteran and has been with the agency for a while and clearly understands the industry pretty well. So generic prices in the US are currently at its lowest point with the kind of competitive pressures that most companies are facing in the environment because of the channel consolidation and the price pressures. So clearly, the generic side of things is extremely competitive from a US perspective. So I think the main focus would be on the branded side and not the generic side.
So earlier you had indicated to us when we spoke last that the US based business pricing pressure could be about 8 to 10%. Do you think it could get worse in the quarters to come?
Well, I think the reality is clearly north of 10%. If you look at Q4 and the pricing pressure in Q4 is north of 10%. So there is a significant amount of pricing pressure that companies are witnessing on the generic business.
Okay. Glenn, we have also seen a spate of US FDA Form 483s, warning letters. From industry point of view, what's your stand on that? I mean, what's your view on that?
Well, I think that's part of the regular business. I think most companies, India is such a large supplier of medicines to the US now. And, the agency will continue auditing Indian facilities and, you will continue to see 483s and warning letters as we go forward.
Okay. Just one final question then. You said that the pricing pressure could be northwards of 10% Q4 onwards. What would this do to your margins? Because you had indicated a margin, performance in the range of about 22 to 23 odd %. Could that be under threat as well?
Well, I think the margin expansion is all coming out of new products, and clearly right now we have Zetia, which is being sold right now in the U.S. market. So this quarter and a part of next quarter should also look very exciting on account of Zetia and the kind of cash flows and revenues that we're getting out of the product. But I think longer term, margins will be under pressure unless you keep getting new product approvals and you're able to expand margins by way of new products.
All right, Glenn. Thanks a lot for your time today. Well, that's Glenn Saldanha from Glenmark. $100 million opportunity, but starts in FY19. The stock up about 1.5% in pre-open. Now, a couple of stocks in pre-open look interesting. One of them is Bharat Financial Inclusion. That's out of F&O ban, so that stock is up 3% in pre-open. Let's pull out Edelweiss and see the kind of follow-up that we are seeing on that stock. And of course, all the GST-related stocks are doing well. The likes of Snowman Logistics, that's up a bit. Ashwani, logistics, anything that you track? Or do you get a sense that today could be a bit of a topping out for some of these stocks?
See, now that the news is out, I don't think there's great value in going into logistics now. Let's see how it plays out over the course of next few days, because they haven't shown great trends. They go up and they come down. I don't think buying on this sort of news is a good idea.
Okay, well, actually, at the moment, the market is at an index level very flat. But Tata Motors appears under pressure. Axis Bank as well, seeing a little bit of pressure. I guess there was a lot of excitement on M&A moves, and that's under pressure.
M&M Financial would be interesting to see if there's
M&M Financial fell. I just looked at that. M&M Financial is down 1.5% because of some expectations being belied, entirely speculative expectations. On the other hand, Manappuram is still in the green.
No,
there also there are M&M.
The point I was making was M&M Financials. You don't have to see the chart of M&M Financials. It's had a one-way rally from 275. Now, I'm not saying that all of this rally was predicated on this, because the rally started much earlier. But it will be interesting to see the kind of reaction on M&M Financial.
Okay, a couple of more stocks. Navneet Education. We don't generally talk about it, but today that stock in pre-opening is up almost about 7% Motilal Oswal has initiated coverage on that stock and they have a target price of 210. So there's a big upside that they're looking at with more than a 20% revenue growth that they're forecasting. You have the logistics companies that are also looking good. Snowman Logistics is up almost about 2% in pre-opening. And once again, all these white goods makers, the likes of Voltas, etc., are all up about 1.5 to 2% or so. Ashwini, any thoughts on... No, in fact, let me go to Sudarshan. Sudarshan, I was asking Ashwini the question about these white goods makers. Anything there that you like? Whirlpool, Voltas, Hitachi Home, IFB Industries?
Well, yes, Voltas has been a favorite. It was actually a buy idea yesterday morning. And for Whirlpool, there's a very large pattern that has broken out much earlier. The targets have not been met. So yesterday was a big run-up. When it consolidates, Whirlpool is also a buy.
Okay, and, yeah, what about your favorite Bata, Sudarshan? Sometimes that's also a GST play.
Yes, well, it is. But even without a GST play, it's an investment buying opportunity.
Okay, the other stock that is in focus is Oracle. Big dividend on that stock and up 1.5% as far as the pre-open rates are concerned. JSW Energy is also out of F&O ban, so that stock as well in the green right now. Indiabulls Real Estate also out of ban, so that stock also up about 0.8%. Ashwani, you've been very bullish on mid-cap real estate. From a portfolio investor's point of view, Indiabulls Real Estate, by the way, was the stock. What would be the strongest among all these names? Kolte Patil, Indiabulls, Brigade?
See, the F&O listed stocks are not looking so as strong, but Sobha, Brigade, Kolte Patil, Mahindra Life Science, all of them have moved up, and possibly this is the first move, and there will be follow through. Even Godrej Properties. So all of these stocks look like they could have further upside.
Basically the best of breed, actually. I think Amit Gupta has not yet given us his F&O strategies. What stocks are you trading, Amit?
See, I think the private banking and the PSU banking both we are giving to our clients, particularly the mid-cap space. Like for an example, Karnataka Bank. If you look at for the last 4 years now, the stock was facing a lot of resistance near 130 levels. But this time the open interest is almost 54 million shares, and generally it has been, whenever it has reached to this level, generally the open interest has been around 17-18 million shares. So we have seen a double, more than double the jump right now in this particular open interest position, and that is why I think these long positions can take the stock much higher from these levels. So for this particular series also, April series also, we have started giving this stock to our clients, and it can move towards, the first target is 154, and beyond that I think it can move much ahead. So this can be one. Another is the PNB, because in June, July 2016 we saw the stock almost got doubled from the lower levels of 75 to 150, but for the last 8 months it has remained near 150 levels. And if you observe now the open interest position, the positions around 50-52 million shares were getting rolled, but now we have seen almost 10-12% of closure of these short positions in the stock. Along with this, when we look at the put writing positions at 140 and 145, both the put strikes have been written in PNB. So it has formed a good base here, and I think it can move towards 165 or 170 levels also in the coming days. So from the banking space, I think these two stocks can be looked at. And along with this, for March expiry, that is for only today, Tata Global, I think some short covering can be seen, because 150 call base was the highest. For the last couple of days, it has been closing above that level. We have seen the position being shifted to 155. So I am buying 150 call only for today only. That is of 1 rupees of premium. So you buy this, possibly the target of 4 rupees can be met.
Okay, pre-open rates have settled actually, and they've settled absolutely flat because the breakout happened yesterday. So it looks like today could be, at least the start could be flat. Ashwani, if we start here, what would be the trade on the index, or would there be any trade on the index? And of course, a 914 call.
So you would look for a 10, 15, 20 point decline on the Nifty to get long. Similarly, 50, 70 point decline on the Bank Nifty. But today could be more sideways than yesterday, and individual stocks could do much better. 915 call is probably Kotak Mahindra. That is a buy with a stop of 850, target of 875.
Okay, in fact, Kotak Mahindra is the biggest gainer, up about 0.5%. We're also seeing a bit of a recovery in some of the auto names. No, in fact, it's only the companies that don't have exposure to BS3 vehicles that are looking good, Bajaj and Maruti. The others like Hero MotoCorp are still sulking a bit. Sudarshan, what would you do with names like Hero MotoCorp and Eicher now?
I think I would wait for a significant dip to come about. That should come in April somewhere. And then both are buying opportunities. Hero MotoCorp is a much better opportunity than Eicher.
Okay. Well, point taken. I keep asking you all this question on Astral Polytechnic. It's one stock that catches my eye because of its steady increase. You should pull up a 1 year of that chart. Anyone tracking that stock? Sudarshan, do you?
No, I don't track it. I'm sorry.
Ashwini, do you?
See, there are several such stocks which are doing this. Astral Poly is breaking out of a 2-3 year range, and chances are we could see 700, 750 on this one.
Okay, look at that vertical rally. It's almost like climbing a cliff. That's Astral Polytechnic. But yes, as Ashwini says, there will be a lot of these mid-cap stocks that are doing very well. Today, again, Manappuram Finance is up because, of course, M&A talk surrounding that stock, and M&M Financial is not up because of probably M&A disappointment. Most of it markets speculation. We'll have to wait and see what comes from the Kotak board meeting today after the fundraising. Anything can come there. We'll wait and see. But it's just about few seconds, so we guys will wait for the bell to go and check how the markets open. Well, market starting absolutely flat, 9139, 9140, 9142, 9143. So it's just 1 point below yesterday. Very, very flat markets. Now in the green, 9144 was touched. Sensex up 3. That's 29,537. So really no index movement at all. Mid caps a tad higher, but really nothing much to speak about. Kotak Mahindra clearly showing some relief. No bleeding takeovers, at least as of now. So it's 0.8% higher, followed by IndusInd, 0.7 higher. Hero Motor is bouncing back, seeing buying after the probably sell yesterday, 0.7 higher. Other stocks, Bajaj Auto always remains strong, and BS3 proof, that's 0.5% higher. Grasim, NTPC, HDFC Bank, the big boy, contributing to the Nifty, also up about 1/3%. SBI is up about 0.5% actually now. L&T, Asian Paints, all of them largely in the green to flat. What's in the red? Axis Bank, understandably. Axis Bank 1.4 down. M&M is down 0.7. I think that was Sudarshan Cell. Tata Motors down 0.7. Wipro, HCL Tech. So tech stocks are a little bit under the weather. That could be responding to the rupee strength as well. Bharti Infratel. ICICI Bank is not showing strength yet. It's down 0.4. Eicher Motors, HDFC, Tata Steel, Z Entertainment, all of them down about 0.25%. So actually honours are evenly divided in the Bank Nifty in terms of red and green. So that index is also flat.
It's flat for the mid-cap index, slightly in the green actually, nothing great to write home about. The market breadth is good, 3:1 in favour of the advances. Navneet, education is the stock that's really surging now, almost a 10% rally, 8.5% to be precise. It's been a great performer this year. It's up 50% for the year. And as I pointed out, Motilal Oswal has initiated coverage on that with a target price now of 210. So they see much further upside from these levels. This whole consumption / white goods space is picking up further. So Blue Star is up almost 4%. You have a couple of these names like Havels and VIP that have hit new highs today, fresh 52-week highs. So looking very good on that front. And logistics is also another space that's looking good. So Snowman Logistics, Gati on the back of the GST bill passage, all of these stocks are up anywhere between 1 to 1.5% or so. Apart from that, you do have India Bulls Ventures that has been gaining ground all through the month. So that goes up further today. Dilip Buildcon, there's some NHAI award wins there. And Bharat Financial Inclusion is up almost about 2.5% as well. Whirlpool, an additional 2% up move over there. And a couple of these auto ancillaries like Mahindra CIE, Rico Auto, Minda Industries. Minda successfully completed its 300 crore QIP. So that stock also looking good. But all in all, Anuj, it's a flat opening, but there is plenty of stock-specific action today.
Yeah, I think it's flat for the index expiry day. So will be interesting to see 9150 becomes your fulcrum, and 9200 is the strike where you have the highest open interest. I think the stock of the morning is Bharat Financial Inclusion because it's out of F&O ban. And looks like it's trapping some shorts on that stock. So that one really stands out. Ashwini, your thoughts on market opening and any stock that stands out for you?
See, the Bank Nifty is open fairly strong. I think it's almost up 75-80 points from the lows. So that is where you probably buy into the declines. And overall, I think these white good companies out there, the rally could extend. So basically these spaces, but Nifty likely to remain sideways. Reliance is showing some follow through. So PSU banks as well as private banks like Yes Bank, etc. They are showing upside. Ashok Leyland is kind of recovering from the 83-84 zone. So that can be traded on the upside.
Okay, well, the logistics stocks are also jumping. As we all know, these are speculative plays every time there is a GST Council meeting. But nevertheless, Sudarshan, between VRL Logistics and All Cargo Logistics or any of the logistics stocks, any preferences at all?
Yes, Gati you were talking about has come out of a bear market, and that's a buying, that's an opportunity for an investor. And the other one is All Cargo Logistics.
Okay, Sudarshan, Ashwini, Mitesh, thanks a lot for taking us through the market opening. A lot of stocks doing well. PTC is also in the green, and of course Bharat Financial is your top F&O gainer right now. Time to welcome our market master Sandeep Bhatia.